Been a little busy this weekend, so some of you may have already heard this. But it's interesting, again, when we talk about the rats jumping ship. Well, first of all, as I said last week, Friday I guess it was, that Jamie Dimon has basically been asked to be, he'd been asked, I guess, through shareholders, basically, through a vote, to step down from CEO position, but not leaving the company, just stepping down from CEO. So that's one nail in the coffin, which is good. The second one, which happened almost right away, which I saw later in the day, but I didn't have time to do the video, was that the CFTC. Now, you know Gary Gensler is the chairman, the head chairman of the CFTC. And he was a former Goldman Sachs do-boy. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Gary, the turd burglar, Gensler, has declined an invitation from President Obama to serve a second term as CFTC chairman, and will leave the CFTC by the end of the year, this year. Which again follows the news, actually, Tuesday's news was that CFTC's head of enforcement, David Meister, who was basically Gary Gensler's right-hand man in the CFTC, will step down as early as Tuesday. So one interesting thing here, it says that the new commissioner, Mark Wedgen, former CFTC enforcement chief Jeffrey Aronow, New York Law School professor Ronald Filler, and assistant Treasury Secretary Timothy Masad are amongst those being considered to succeed Mr. Gensler. Now, interestingly enough, the New York Times has also named an additional person. And that person's name is Amanda Renteria. Which is interesting, because she too is a former Goldman Sachs girl. Here's a little history. You can look her up on WikiLeaks, but here's a little bit of history. Legislative assistant / legislative director, U.S. Senate for U.S. Senator. All right, under the U.S. Senate, Senator Dianne Feinstein, or Feinstein, and Senator Stabenow from 2004 to 2007. She was a senior financial analyst for, you guessed it, Goldman Sachs from 1997 to 2000. So it's interesting the Wall Street Journal doesn't really mention her name, but the New York Times said, oh, there's an additional person who might get the position. And seeing that all this stuff is always a revolving door, they want to make you think that, oh, yeah, Gary Gensler's gone and his right-hand man's gone. We're going to get some new guys in there, and they're going to clean house. They're going to do the job these other guys were supposed to be doing. And then you look at their background. See, if it wasn't for the internet, I would not be able to go to WikiLeaks by myself, type in this person's name, and see who she is, where she's worked. Oh, that's what I love about the internet. I found it instantly. I read the article, saw what the New York Times, another elitist organization, had said. Amanda. Let me go see what old Amanda. I'm going to take you by the hand, make you understand, Amanda. If that's the case, and she really becomes a possibility of stepping into that position, I'll go ahead and make the claim right now before anything happens, she will get the job. Just like when Dominique Strauss-Kahn, former head of the IMF, had some weird alleged sexual assault thing where he tried to sexually assault a call girl or something in one of the hotels in America he was at the time, and he was just about to get on a plane, and they nabbed him, put him in jail. No bond, says the judge. You stay in jail. And the day he announced his resignation from the IMF, the judge lifted that and said, okay, bail is allowed. He then promptly got on his airplane, went back to his country, and later on was found not guilty. No charges were filed. Charges were dropped, whatever. They had nothing to go on. So while that was going on, I was looking at the candidates. I did a video on this at the time, by the way, and said, oh, Christine Lagarde from France, she made a comment, I've mentioned this before, that Greece and them should just privatize all their infrastructure and everything, just sell it off to pay their bills, pay that big bailout that they didn't want. So I said, man, talking like that, she's going to get the position. And sure as hell, as I'm standing here talking to you right now, she got that position in a heartbeat. So as I sit here reading this, putting two and two together, if we hear that Amanda Renteria, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, Renteria, if you want to go look it up, WikiLeaks, or not WikiLeaks, Wikipedia. I don't know if I said WikiLeaks earlier, but I meant Wikipedia. She was a former Goldman Sachs person. The former Secretary Treasuries were former Goldman Sachs people. Gary Gensler is a former Goldman Sachs person. This chick is one. She'll get the nod if she's chosen. Other than that, these other people, I haven't actually did the research. The former CFTC enforcement guy, Jeffrey Aronow, Mark Wentgen, Ronald Filer, not sure how you pronounce that, Filer, and Assistant Treasury Secretary Timothy Massad. I didn't do the research on them. I probably should have before I did this video, just to see if they were some old Goldman boys. But once I saw New York Times mention her out of the norm, I decided to go check her first, and sure enough, she's Goldman Sachs. So don't think for a second that just because old Gary Gensler stepping down from the CFTC, that all of a sudden all is well. That's not the case. No, the Roman Empire days, they actually did get rid of people when they had to, when it was just too much for the population to handle, and actually did do some good, from what I could tell. Having said that, that should happen nowadays if history repeats. But again, these people have a revolving door. Go from the CFTC, go work for Goldman Sachs, back to the CFTC, etc. It's really sickening, actually, when you see this. It's just, this country's so finished. It's just not even funny anymore. It's just disturbing. Take care.